If you are an avid crocheter like I am, you may have run into the same issue that I was dealing with a couple weeks ago. Coning. Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Anna from Miss A Crochet, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Today I am wearing my bubble earrings to try and channel in like my inner roundness and like anti-points and coning aura. So wish me luck. Coning happens when you're crocheting in the round and like the top part of your plushie, either its head or maybe like a turtle shell, becomes a little bit more pointy than you want it to be, almost creating like a cone head. So for example, I have this bee. As you can see, he has a very pointed top of his head. Preferably, I would have wanted it to be a little bit more squished down, a little bit more like chunky bee-like. And I don't know about you, but I just really don't think coning looks good on amigurumi. It makes it obviously very pointy, very almost jagged looking or uneven kind of. And it obviously makes it kind of difficult to create, you know, chunky, cute little plushies. So I had been dealing with coning since about the end of June and then through July, and honestly, it was really ticking me off. I had found like some solutions, but they required a lot of math, and I was just like not feeling it. And some of the patterns didn't go up to the stitch counts that I needed them to, so it just wasn't like a very foolproof solution to coning. One night while I was market prepping, I was just getting so mad because I was trying to make turtles, and turtles don't really, I mean, turtles kind of have pointy noses, but their shells are pretty flat, and I ended up like almost crying over it. Like, it was a whole debacle. And so I posted on my Instagram stories asking for help and if people had ever dealt with coning using Bernat blanket yarn. And wow, I got a lot of answers and a lot of very different answers. Before I go through all the solutions people told me about, I just would like to say a huge thank you for everybody who reached out to me on Instagram and tried to help me with coning. I seriously love the crochet community. You guys are the best, and I hope this video can help anyone who is struggling with coning like I was a couple weeks ago. As you can see from my yarn stash and most of my plushies, I use Bernat blanket, I yarn over, and I use a 6mm crochet hook. So before we get into all the different kinds of solutions people offered, let's just create our control. I'm gonna crochet yarning over with my 6mm crochet hook, 6, 12, 18, so 3 rows, and I will show you what my coning looks like. Okay, I am gonna do one more row, but as you can see, it's already coning. I mean, this is definitely looking triangular-like. It is not flat at all. I did 6 single crochet in the magic ring, and I increased in each stitch, and it is pointy. But let's keep going, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like with one more row. Okay, I ended on an increase. My stitch count is right, and this is what 3 rows, 6, 12, 18 look like. That is a point. Usually it's supposed to be like completely flat. I can't even get it to like even stay flat. If I fold it in half, I mean, it's not. This is a triangle. This is the start of a triangle, not the top of somebody's head. So this is what I was dealing with for about 3 weeks. It was really terrible. I hated it. I hated crocheting. I was miserable because I was just doing everything that I knew, and I was doing it right. I had 6, 12, 18. Why wasn't it working? So this is going to be our control. This is what I was dealing with, and now let's try some of the solutions. I know so many people use a 7mm or even an 8mm crochet hook with Bernat blanket, but my tension is so loose that I found that a 6mm works best for me, but it creates coning. So when I first posted on Instagram saying I use Bernat blanket and a 6mm crochet hook and I'm dealing with coning, like dozens of people recommended I increase my hook size. With my 6.5mm hook, I'm gonna do 6, 12, 18, and I'm gonna show you what that looks like. I already know it's going to be flat. It's going to be very nice, but I was starting to make my turtles with this hook, and when I would start decreasing, there would be holes in all my decreases, so I would have to go back and sew all the holes shut, which honestly really sucked. And I would rather have to do the math method that I mentioned, with my smaller hook size, then go back and sew through like rows and rows of gapping decreases. I just lost count. Pulling my magic circle shut. It's looking fine. You know, it always looks fine in the first row, and then it gets to the increases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Confirming there are 6. I'm sorry if you're crocheting and counting as I do this. Sorry. We're increasing, just doing my normal tension, not changing anything, just using a different hook and a different yarn. This is like a different yarn. I know not all Bernat's yarns are the same, but it is part of their sparkle collection. So that red I used was their red sparkle. This is their yellow sparkle. So it's still like the same texture and components inside of it. All right, after round 2, it is pretty flat. It's really nice. I will say looks can be deceiving because when I first started using this hook, I was so excited. And then of course, I got to the decreases and it was not fun, but for science, I am going to do the 3rd row and just show you what that looks like. All right, honestly, even after the 3rd row, we're starting to get coning again. I don't know. It's just not it. It's obviously coming to a point. Before, when it was just the 2 rounds, it was flat and it should be just like this, pretty flat, and it's not. I mean, because it is kind of creating some coning and I have such big issues with gapping in my decreases, increasing my hook size 0.5 millimeters did not solve my problem. Let's just try 7 millimeter for science because, you know, people recommended going to a 7 or an 8. I don't have an 8 millimeter hook. I just know it's not going to work, but again, I just want to show you like how some solutions look like they might work and some kind of don't. And how, you know, it all really just sucks. I'm kidding. It sucks, but it also is... No, it just sucks. It sucks when you're trying to do something and it doesn't work and you try all of these solutions. I had already tried all these solutions before this video. I'm retrying them again just to show you guys how hard it can be to find like your perfect yarn, hook, and tension combination to make the best plushies. All right, I'm here with my 7 millimeter crochet hook that my dog chewed on, so it has a weird thing in it that gets caught on the yarn every time, but it still works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So far, it's flat. They've all been flat after the first round. Okay, now we're getting somewhere, right? It looks flat, right? No. Look at this. Look at that hole. My pinky fits through the stitch. I put no effort into that. I mean, like, look. Hold on. I'm trying to, like, visualize. Look. No! This can't happen. I cannot have this. All of this can easily stretch out and get your fingers caught, and no. 7 millimeter crochet hook doesn't work. I have too loose of tension. Yeah, it makes it look nice, but I don't want polyfill leaking out everywhere. So in conclusion, sizing up my hook doesn't work with my tension. It might work for you. I definitely recommend trying it. Try all of these things, figure out what combination works best for you. Increasing my hook size just wasn't it. It's not plausible for me to increase my hook size because I have holes and I can't handle having holes. Then I got some really interesting advice. I think 1 or 2 people said to do the magic ring with a bigger hook, and then for round 2, switch back to your regular hook. Theoretically, I did not understand this because if you made the magic ring with a bigger hook, right? This is my magic ring, so technical. And then I did the next row with the smaller hook, my regular hook, it would make it tighter. I feel like it would make the cone more coney. But you know what? I tried it, and let's try it again. I'm going to use a 6.5 millimeter hook just to make the 6 single crochet in the magic ring, and then I'm going to switch to my 6 millimeter hook to do the increases. I was right. I mean, if you look at this, I feel like this is even a sharper cone than this one. So obviously that did not work for me. I could try and just keep going. That's just not it. I knew it theoretically wouldn't work and it didn't work. I was right. But no, but I saw somebody else say they did just their first couple of rounds with a bigger hook, and then they switched back to their regular hook size, and I thought, well, I'll try it. Who knows? If you remember like 30 seconds ago though, when I showed you what my crochet looked like with a 7mm and a 6.5mm hook, the same exact thing is about to happen. It's it's the exact same. It's gonna have gaps and I'm gonna hate it. So to save time, I'm just gonna tell you, it didn't work out. It's still coned and it had holes, which even added on another problem. Next, a bunch of people on Instagram recommended changing my tension. One person recommended crocheting your magic ring and then barely even like pulling the string to close it. So let's try that out. We shall see. Okay, I'm back to using my 6mm crochet hook, and I'm going to very, very loosely, so loosely, close this magic ring. Like, that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. I could definitely pull it more. I'm not going to. And now I'm just gonna do an increase in each stitch. I can already tell this isn't going to work, and not because I already did it like a couple weeks ago and it didn't work, but because I can literally like feel it starting to cone in my hands. Like, you can see it. All the edges are curling up. So then when I flip it, no. Even if I then decided to tighten the magic ring, I mean, it kind of helps, but again, when you flip it, it's pointy. It's still pointy. So barely closing the magic ring very loosely doesn't work for me. I don't know. The next tension related solution I got was to stretch the loops a little bit extra in the first 2 rows. So that would mean I would have to already loosen my very, very loose tension. So let's give it a try. Okay, it is kind of looking flat, right? But I mean, I can push through these stitches very easily. They're too stretchy, stuffing can come through. It's just not tight enough. The next solution I received was to stretch your project after or while you're crocheting it. And honestly, it kind of worked. It didn't really solve like all of my coning issues, but it solved more of like the lower coning issues when it got to like 3 single crochet increase, 4 single crochet increase. It kind of helped with those issues, but it did not solve my coning at the very top of the head. The next solution people recommended was yarning under. Yarning under has just become a really big thing now. It makes super nice color changes, very tight stitches. So, you know what? If people recommended it, I'm gonna give it a try. I have a list of all the things that I tried yarning under, and none of it worked. At first, I tried with my 6mm crochet hook, 6 single crochet in the magic ring, yarning under. No. I did my 6.5mm crochet hook, 6 single crochet in the magic ring, yarning under. No. I did a 6mm crochet hook, 8 single crochet in the magic ring, single crochet increase in the next row, getting 12, yarning under. No. So honestly, yarning under was not the solution to my coning issue. It just was not right. I'm gonna make one sample just to show you that it did not work at all. But believe me, I tried all of these. I have them written out and they all didn't work. These stitches are super tight and really kind of hard to get into, but we shall see. Right now, I'm doing the yarn under and then yarn over to complete the stitch. I know some people yarn under for both. I read that it doesn't really make a difference what you do after the first yarn under, so I'm just yarning over. Okay, it's looking pretty flat. Maybe I'm just getting better at yarning under, but a couple weeks ago, it was not working. Okay, so maybe because I have been practicing yarning under, it worked a little bit better, but this is yarning over, yarning under. Still though, I really just don't like this. I can try and tighten it, but it still has that little point up there that I really just hate. Well, because this actually kind of worked, let's try it with a 6.5mm. I think it didn't work before, like before when I wasn't filming this, because I was still learning how to yarn under, but honestly, I'm not mad. All right, row 1 and 2 look really good. They look really flat. This is the yarning under with the 6.5mm crochet hook. I think if I was going to start yarning under like all the time, I would probably just stick with the 6mm because there are some gaps in my increased stitches, but if you are struggling with coning, I definitely recommend trying to yarn under. It just probably will take you a couple weeks to learn how to do it like it did for me. Okay, I'm gonna be retiring this yellow yarn because it's getting really mad at me for crocheting with it and then frogging. Like, it's getting kind of icky. So I'm gonna grab a different color. The next solutions for coning that people recommended fit under the category of stitch counts. So you're not changing your hook, you're not changing your tension or like doing anything special, but you are changing the amount of stitches that you put in each row. A ton of people recommended that I do 8 single crochet in the magic ring, and then I do single crochet increase in the next row, making it go from 8 stitches to 12 stitches. Now, when people told me this, I was like, no, that doesn't work. Because when you increase, you have to be increasing by even amounts in order to get it to be flat, right? With this, you're not really increasing by an even amount. You're increasing by 6, not 8. So I did not think it was gonna work. It didn't, but alas, I'm gonna do it and show you what it looked like. All right, I have my 8 single crochet in the magic ring. This part always scares me because there's so many stitches now. Oh! Oopsies. Oh well, I mean, I'm not using it for a project. I'm gonna frog it anyways, but be careful. Now I'm going to do the single crochet increase in each stitch. Again, I have returned to yarning over because that is what I'm most comfortable with. I have not tried this with yarning under, I don't think. Okay, yeah, it's not, well, I mean, it doesn't help that like my magic ring is now undoing itself, but that's some major coning. Pretty much the same issue that I have with the 6 single crochet to 12. Now it's going from 8 to 12, which I think is just making an even pointier. So that doesn't really work for me when I'm yarning over. I'm curious what it would be like yarning under, so let's just try that for fun. And I'm not going to try and snap the freaking magic ring this time. Oh my gosh, I haven't done that in so long. Gently closing the magic ring now. Okay. Looking a little promising. Yarning under. Yarning under. It takes so much more brain power to yarn under for me. Okay, so that actually worked with yarning under pretty well, but honestly, it was really uncomfortable for my hand to do, so I don't really think it's a great solution. I actually never tried it yarning under. I'm wondering if the people who recommended it yarn under, and that's why it works. I'm going to do another row, and I'll get back to you. Now that I'm only increasing by 6, it started to cone. So for reference, this is like my control. This is 6, 12, 18, 6mm crochet hook yarning over. And then this is 6, 12, 18, 6mm crochet hook yarning under. It's definitely smaller than this just because the stitches are smaller because I'm yarning under, but I feel like the angle of like conage and coning is pretty much the same. So even though I was really hopeful after that first round, sometimes you just have to keep trying and keep going and seeing if it actually works on the other rounds. The second suggestion I received was to just skip round 1 completely and start with 12 single crochet in the magic ring. And it definitely coned when I did the next row of single crochet increase when I first tried it, but maybe I'll try it yarning over, like just normally how I would try it, and then I'll try it yarning under just to see if maybe that works. Okay, now my brain is glitching. It's definitely hard to get all 12 stitches to fit on the magic ring, but if it works, it works. All right, so because we skipped row 1 and now we're just on to row 2, we're gonna go on to row 3, which would be single crochet increase. I can already see it and feel it coning. You can definitely like kind of tell once you start like getting halfway through the row, it'll start curling over. So I don't know. Yeah, that's some coning. This was the 12 single crochet and then single crochet increase in the next row, yarning over, 6mm crochet hook. No, I'm not gonna bother trying that yarning under. You know, if you go back and look, obviously, like whenever I've tried yarning over with something and it doesn't work, and then I try yarning under, it still doesn't work to like the same degree. It's just the yarning under is slightly smaller and tighter stitches. I'm not gonna waste your time or my time doing that because what you're here for is my solutions. So you see the bee, he's pointy, pinhead, whatever, 6, 12, 18, and then I think 24, right? Now look at him, 6, 12, 18, 24, and then I don't know how many rows of single crochet. It's the Fred the Turtle pattern. I don't have it memorized, but look, perfectly round, right? 6, 12, 18, 24, 6mm crochet hook. Look at him. Do you see how flat that is? I mean, not flat, but round. It goes 6, 12, 18, 24, like 4 rows or 3 rows of single crochet, and then it starts decreasing. But look, he's like perfectly perfect, right? Same yarn, same glitter yarn, same hook size too. I have no holes because I use my 6mm crochet hook and I know my tension, and I don't have pointy nose or like, you know, pointy top of the head, and he's stuffed very firmly. So before I even ask people on Instagram, I kind of found this solution. It goes, instead of doing 6, 12, 18, 24, I did 8, 16, 24, and then I go to 30. So doing 1 row with 6 increases, getting me back on track with that 6 pattern. Not all patterns go up to 30, but either way, you know, you could do it to something that goes up to like 24. If it goes up to 30, then you can do that. But that was kind of what I was doing for a while. Still, I was like, oh my gosh, this is hard because I have to remember which row to skip, and all the time I would go from 24 to 36 instead of going 24, 30, 36, and it was just kind of a mess. But after I posted asking for help, I was sent the most amazing reel by Cricket and Clover Crochet. This is a reel by Isla Stitchery, and I'm going to show it to you now. And now I use that method and sometimes paired with my 8, 16, 24, 30 method to make perfectly round amigurumi. The combination of these two methods works really well for me. If the stitch count is really, really low or really kind of weird, they still both work as separate solutions. As you can see, with those two techniques used, it's really pretty smooth. There is a little bit of a point still on this turtle shell just because of like crocheting, it's handmade, but if I really cared about that, I think I'd end up like losing my mind, and parts of it will go away with stuffing. But with those two techniques and the stretching, I can make really nice flat amigurumi that honestly like elevates the look of all my plushies. That's it for this video, and that was a lot of crocheting on my part. I'm very glad that I ended up going from this to this. I mean, it took some time and it took a lot of experimenting, but I figured it out, and now I'm very happy to be able to share with you some solutions to coning. I would like to thank everyone on Instagram for reaching out and trying to help me and like checking in over time. You guys are seriously the best, and I really hope this video can help anyone else who's struggling with coning. If there are any techniques that I missed or don't even know about, share them in the comments so that other people can try them out, I can try them out. I know coning is a really big issue in the amigurumi community, especially for us that use bulky yarn, so it would be amazing if we could help others because so many people were so kind and helped me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.